5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. What's up, champions? Coach Rael here with Getting Real with Rael. I have an amazing guest tonight. I'm so excited to bring to you Rich Higbee. And you know how we do it here. We all know people's glory, but we don't know their story. So you're going to find out about this man. He's an amazing man. I just met him 2 weeks ago, and I already feel like we're family. I mean, his wife is like my second wife or something. We're just really connected. His kids are amazing, and I'm just really excited to have Rich here tonight. So Rich, welcome. How are you?
Well, thank you. What a great introduction. And I'm doing good, Real, and just really honored to be on your podcast.
Well, I'm grateful to have you here. I think, you know what, I'm going to change. I want you to be big when you're talking. So you know what? Hold on. I got to go over here. And I'm just going to change the view. There we go. So now when you're talking, you will be big. Okay. So now you're out. Where are you, in Utah?
Yeah, well, right now I'm in California, but I live in Utah. I have an apartment in California because our corporate offices are here in Irvine. So I'm out here pretty much every week or every other week. And but my family, my wife, and I have 4 daughters all live in Utah.
Okay. Now, so are they went back, or are they here?
They went back. So they're home, and I actually went back home too. I was in Utah last week, and then I flew to Wisconsin to do one of our tour events, and now I'm here in California. So I kind of am all over the place.
That's awesome.
And they put up with me, so they're very supportive.
Well, now, and I want to say, because the title of this, because I forgot about this, I was so excited. The title of this Facebook Live, I says, "This really sucks." So for some of you who are wondering, does this really suck? No, Rich doesn't really suck. What we're going to get to the end of this, what we're really talking about is Rich has an amazing story. I have an amazing story. Both of us, it's like middle life crisis, but we have middle life success, middle life victories. And so many people feel like they get stuck, and they figure, I'm stuck with this life and this. So by the end of this podcast, you're going to see and hear how you don't have to be stuck. Your life doesn't have to suck. You don't have to be in the hamster wheel. You don't have to accept less than you were called for greatness. You weren't called for ordinary. So stay tuned, and you're going to hear about that, and it's all going to come together. So I just want to explain that. So Rich, take us back. I always like to start. Let's start with your glory. Tell us about the success you've had in your life. Let's start there.
Well, I've been very fortunate. I actually, going way back, I graduated from Brigham Young University in psychology. And my plan was to go into marriage and family therapy. And I got sidetracked by the direct sales industry, working specifically in health and wellness. And I fell in love with the industry. So even though I had applied and had been accepted to a number of universities to go on and get my master's degree in marriage and family therapy, I ended up 25 years ago getting involved in the direct sales industry. And I've worked with some very well-established large companies that have 25 plus years in business. And then I've worked with a few small startups, some that have gone on to be household names today, doing billions in sales. And I think that one of the things that I've been very fortunate about is that I've selected companies that had integrity, good products, good management, and I was mentored by some of the very best and have been fortunate to work in executive positions in a number of those legacy companies. And so I think that when people look at my track record, if you were to do any research, you would look and think, wow, he was with some of the big companies when they went through their heydays and has been successful in helping them to grow from, maybe multi-millions to multi-hundred millions to even multi-billions in sales. So from a professional standpoint, some of it's been luck, some of it's been hard work and determination and perseverance, and ultimately all of it has prepared me for what I'm doing today.
Yeah, and I know. Okay, I'm going to hold that for a second. So and we look at this, and guys, we're talking big numbers. Okay, Rich being very humble, but he's been very, very successful, and taken well care of for, the companies that he's raised. But, like I say, we all know your glory. That sounds awesome. Actually sounds phenomenal. But to the average person, a lot of them, what I believe now, the reason I started this podcast and doing this is because as important as our victories are, I think our struggles are even more important. The challenges, because they look at Rich, they look at Rael, and they go, oh, they got the perfect world. Well, I'm about to do a come out I've been toying with it for the month of September, because the month of September is International National Suicide Month. And so, I got a big story to play on that. So when people hear that, they'll be like blown away, right? And they look at Rich, got the beautiful family, like picture perfect family, amazing daughters, amazing kids, but it's not perfect, right, Rich? I mean, tell us about some of the challenges you had, the struggles. And I like to do this for a reason. I want you to try to go back to 5 years old and maybe start there if you can, because 5 years old is a pivotal time in our life. That's when things really go one way or another. But share with us, let's just be real, authentic, and vulnerable. Share with us some of those challenges and not so much fun times again.
Well, Riel, that's interesting. Interesting that you asked that. So I was raised in a family of 8 kids, and I was number 7. And when you're raised in a large family, there are all kinds of dynamics happening. And so you've got some siblings that have gone on to be successful. And at that stage, I had a number of my siblings that had gone on and graduated from college, and I was still, one of the younger kids. And I just remember feeling like a little bit like a number, like I was just one of the Higbee family. And my older siblings were superstars in everything they did, whether it was athletics or theater or performing or music or, success, being class presidents or student body officers or going on into college and doing great things. I always felt like one of the, younger kids that was easily discounted. And it was interesting how that kind of followed me throughout my life and into my career. I remember feeling, very early on in my career that I was young, people didn't take me serious. I really questioned myself. I doubted my instincts, my intuition. And I think that really affected me initially in my career. And I had a lot to do to prove to myself and to other people that I could be successful in what it was that we were, the company that I was working for. And I will say that through all of that, I really covered myself well. People never in a million years would have imagined that I had the insecurities or maybe low self-esteem that I had, or that they always saw me as a very confident individual because I hid it really well. I think it wasn't until about maybe 8 years ago, after being married at that time for about 18, 19 years, we had four daughters, my wife and I. And, 8 years ago, probably at least 3, my wife and 2, if not 3 of my daughters were on medication for anti-anxiety. And when people saw us as a family, they would look at us. I mean, if you saw a picture of us, you would probably think, oh, that's the perfect little family. My girls were all successful, beautiful. My wife, I think, is the epitome of beauty, both inside and outside. And they would look at us and they would think, oh, that's the perfect little family. Little did they know that we were struggling with some real issues. Little did they know that our oldest daughter had gone through, just a few years prior to that, probably one of the most traumatic experiences that a 13-year-old could go through, and that it led her down a very dark pathway. She got involved with the wrong crowd of people, started using drugs, eventually got into alcohol, and today has now been in and out of 25 different treatment facilities. And back then, 8 years ago, we didn't talk about those things. We didn't share the struggles we were going through. I remember feeling like, first of all, I had grown up with these feelings of inadequacy, let alone did I want people to know how inadequate I felt as a father, as a parent. And so here I was putting up a good front, having all kinds of success in my career, and yet I felt like that my personal life was, layered with all kinds of struggles. Now, what I've come to learn, Rial, is that everyone has struggles, and yet we do such a good job of hiding it. I've come to learn that, we all have mental health, and yet we've been taught how to shove that mental health into a closet. We focus on our physical appearance, on our physical health. Some of us do it better than others, but little do we focus on our mental health. And I also came to find that not only do we not focus on it, but we do everything that we can to avoid it. And so 8 years ago, when all of this was transpiring and happening with my family, I even did a better job of, straightening my collar, putting my shoulders up, and marching into the world with this confidence and with this, like everything was perfect in my life. And it wasn't until about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years, that my daughter went missing for about it was like around 7-8 days. We didn't know where she was. And she had run off with a drug dealer. And here we were, this perfect little family living in Highland, Utah, in a very conservative community. And little did I want anybody to know that my daughter was missing, and that we were dealing with the issues that we were dealing with. That by that point, I was taking antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. And I frankly didn't want anybody to know that we were dealing with these things. And so I was even very protective of what I would share with my closest friends and my family. So it wasn't until about 4 years ago that I had an epiphany. And I started to realize that not sharing what I was dealing with and going through, whether it was with a therapist or with family members or friends, or a community of people that perhaps could lift me up and help me to go through these challenges where I didn't feel alone. I felt so alone as a father, as a man. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know who to share these things with. And it wasn't until that point in my life, 4 years ago, that I had an epiphany. And I realized, you know what, this is not serving me. This is not serving the people around me, who were many of them struggling with similar or even more severe situations than I was. But yet here I felt all alone, like I was the only one in the world dealing with these things, which just isn't true. And that's the demon in not dealing with your mental health, or not at least sharing or communicating your struggles that are going on, is that you do everybody a disservice, especially yourself. So 4 years ago, I had an epiphany, and about 3 years ago, I was contacted by Hip Tran. Hip is the founder and CEO of Amare Global, and he brought me out to meet with him. And interesting, the first thing he said to me was, I've always struggled with self-esteem, so don't be offended if I don't look you in the eyes. Wow. And I just remember thinking, holy cow, here I'm going through my own epiphany. He started to share his story in full transparency, and the first time I ever met him. And something shifted in me again 3 years ago, and ultimately made me really think about what I was doing in my life, and how could I play at a higher level? How could I really help address this issue of mental wellness at a more significant level, and ultimately help me to make that decision to join Hip Tran and the rest of the executive team in forming Amare, creating the mental wellness company, and creating a space and a platform for people to be able to talk about, what mental health means and what they can do to optimize it and how they can live a happier life, how they can address some of the issues that they're struggling with in a natural and holistic way. And we've been doing that now for 3 years. 2 years we've actually launched as a company selling products. And here we are today with thousands of people like yourself who have joined us because you feel passion around the same topic. And the interesting thing for me, Rial, is this. Everyone that I've come across has said, I have too, they just like me, I too was afraid to talk about what I was going through. You don't have to be diagnosed with mental illness to have mental health. You don't have to have bipolar or borderline personality or schizophrenia to have struggles with mental health. But yet people are afraid to talk about it. And here we've created a platform that not only gives them that space, but they have tools to be able to help them to become educated and improve their mental health. They have a community of passionate people that are like-minded, and we are creating a revolution. We're creating a mental wellness revolution that right now we've started here in the United States, but we're expanding into Mexico and eventually will be a global revolution. And that to me it is due time for that. It couldn't be better timing, and there couldn't be something that I'm engaged in that's more purposeful. And I believe that's what's attracting people like yourself, where you feel that same kind of passion around what it is that we're doing. So that's a little bit about turning my, I guess you could say, my pain into my passion, or my purpose, or my mess into my message, however you want to say it.
No, I love that, Rich, and thank you for being transparent and vulnerable, because you know what, it is tough. And it's like, when I think, I'm sober, I'm in a program, AA, and, even though it's anonymous, it's like if you share with people that you're in AA or you're sober, they congratulate you, they're excited for you, they're, whereas like still like, in this arena, which is just as important, like you say, you come out and you say that, people, they don't know what to say, or they think of you differently, but I believe, like you say, as I shared with my wife, I didn't join a company, I joined a movement, I joined, like you just said, I like that, a revolution in a family, because I believe we're not only going to be able to help people, but we're going to be able to, when people do come out and share it, they'll get the same kind of response. Congratulations, way to go, or not that, oh, okay. Because, even like, when I decided to come out with my depression, I actually just wrote an article with a very good friend of mine. She wrote the very first article I ever did as an actor, and I thought it was very fitting as my comeback. I just did a comeback as an actor, that she write my comeback article. And I trust her with my life, and I was very transparent, like stuff that was just, that nobody's ever heard. And she turned off the recorder and she said, Rael, she goes, I love you, but I'm going to make you look good with this article. And I just want to tell you as a friend, if you go do other articles, people don't have your back like I do and stuff like that, you might want to tone it down a little bit. Because, and what she was saying was, just like you said, the world's not ready for that, and that's kind of what I've been toying with. And I'm just waiting. I'm a God guy. It's going to happen. Like I said, it's National Suicide Month. And when I'm right, I'll be running up those stairs or something. I'm just going to lay it all out. But every day I go I hear that, and I think, because there are people that are going to look at you different. There are people that won't hire you. There are certain things you won't be able to do anymore. But I, like you, when I met you and Hip and Dr. Talbot and Pat, man, I knew instantly. I said, these are guys I want to lock arms with. These are, and people that know me, man, my fire was out. It was like water poured over me. I would show up because that's what I do, want to help other people. But dude, man, talk about being an actor. I was doing some great performances. you know, and when I met you guys, man, it was like, the bonfire was out, and I was like, yes, this is what I needed. This is what I want to be part of, you know, and really excited about that. And I lost my thought. I got so excited.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
I bet you the publicist for Michael Phelps, when he came out and said, look, I want to talk about the fact that I was suicidal. Or Oprah Winfrey, when she talked about her depression. Or you name it. I mean, there's a lot of athletes and celebrities that are finally coming forward and say, hey, this was my struggle. I bet a lot of the publicists then said, you really shouldn't say that. Like, you shouldn't let people know. But I think that it's because of people like them. It's because of people like you. It's because we have a community here that are willing to transform the thinking and the stigma around mental health and say, look, we all have mental health, and we need to talk about it, and we need to do something to address it. And there are solutions out there to help you aside from mainstream medicine. So I think it's time for that. And I believe that my experience has been, is I've been very open and honest with my story with people. I've only engendered more respect. People don't look at me differently. They look at me as being human. You know, they can relate to me. And I think that the more of us that do that, the more relatable we become. And I also think that's why our business model is such a unique atmosphere to talk about mental health, because again, it's a word of mouth program. And the more that you're able to share with people what you've been through, the more that they're willing to share, and therefore that's what creates a movement. And so I think that, to your point, I love that you're willing to speak up about it. And I think that it will make a big difference. But I also think that it's high time that we start to educate people about their mental health. So listen to this. 1 out of 10 people were brought up learning how to take care of their mental health, versus 7 out of 10 people were brought up learning how to take care of their physical health. And there's no difference. Mental health and physical health make up who we are. So if we didn't learn how to do that, then just think how deficient we are. And it's no wonder why our world is the mess that it is, because we did not learn how to manage it. We didn't learn how to deal with anxiety and depression or stress. In fact, most of us hadn't even heard the word. And if we did, we associated it with mental illness, not with mental health, but mental illness. So it's no wonder we're in the condition that we are. And look, the World Health Organization calls stress the health epidemic of the 21st century. It is what is causing more death than any other issue in our world today. And so it's about high time we begin to address it. And any publicist or any journalist that tells you otherwise, well, they're probably stuck back in the 80s and maybe need to join us in 2019, because it is now high time that we start to take our mental health seriously.
100%, you know, and thank you for that. So I'm probably going to get off here and run to the top. Like, something about those stairs. I love to run those stairs, and then I get these messages. But, you know, echoing what you said is, like, I've been a fitness professional for 40 years now. I see some of my OG clients on here. I saw Michelle Tenney on here, and I saw Laura Volk. Laura Volk was my number 2 client. Michelle was like my number 5. So they know. You know, I've owned 4 of my own gyms. And when I hear you say this is why I call this the missing link. My whole life, my whole career has been from the outside in. Let's get those 6-pack abs. Let's get ripped. How are you striation? You know, and there's a whole world of us out there. But then, you know, they all look great on the outside. They're all, look at me, look at my abs. I'm buff. Let me put my shit on. But then they go home, self-medicate, drinking, you know, Xanax, sleeping pills, you know, fighting, stress, anxiety. But when they show up, woo, in the gym. So I love that, because for the first time in my life, I have fixed myself from the inside out. That's what we do at Amare, the gut brain connection and now the heart connection. And I feel like, I can't, I met people that, I just remember, because people said, how long have you been on these products? I'd be like, 8 days. They're like, oh my gosh, wait till you get to 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You have no idea. And I remember talking to this one girl, I just remember this, that is challenged with depression like me. And she said, there's one problem with these products. And I talked to Dr. Talbot about it. And I said, okay, what is that? She goes, sometimes I just feel so good, I don't know what to do with myself. And she said, Dr. Talbot looked at her and said, and that's a problem? But it's like, I'm sleeping. Those of my people know I never sleep. They thought but it was deeper than that. Yes, I like to get up early, but the reality was I'm 56, I cannot remember. I'm going back 30, 40 years. I cannot remember, Rich, the last time I slept through the night. I would literally get up on the hour every night. Now I sleep like a baby, completely out. My mental focus is, I'm an actor. I have a photographic memory, or I used to have a photographic memory, but I do again now. The fog is gone, regular, something people don't want to talk about, but that's important. I'm regular, you can't go through addiction, taking all kind of different pills, putting alcohol in your body, doing all that different stuff, trying this and that, and your insides not be messed up. It just can't happen, right? Oh my God. Completely pain-free, Rich, completely pain-free. Day 13, I woke up and I forgot that I had pain. It used to be like, I'd wake up in the morning and I used to joke because I say, first thing I do is drop to my knees and pray. Well, I had no choice because that's how I'd get out of bed. I'd roll out of bed. And then, so I said, I might as well pray. I'm here anyways. And then I would kind of get up and stuff completely pain-free, so needless to say, you can see both of us, the excitement of we are about this because it's important. And, I will tell you this as well on a serious level. I can't help, and it goes in alignment with what you said. I lost nine champion, all men, 123 suicides a day, 3.5% more men than women. We have 20 emergency responders a day, 14 teenagers a day. It's an epidemic. And I think those numbers might be on. I lost 9 champion men this year alone. 3 of them I spent time at a party, a function or whatever, within 3 weeks, 1 week, had no idea. And I can't help but think, had I come out earlier, had I been outspoken earlier, and when I ran into them, it may have opened the door to say, hey, I saw your Facebook Live, or I saw that you did this article, and can I talk to you for a second? Because I'm dealing with this right now and I don't know what to do. I can't help but think that. So for me, I'm not even going to say one. I want to save thousands of lives, and that's what I believe we can do, and that's what I'm excited about. Now, I wanted to switch gears for a second, and then we're going to do rapid fire, and then we're going to wrap it up. Because I did say at the beginning, you don't have to say stuff. Now, I'm not going to say the name, you can figure it out, but you were the VP of that big oil company, the little oils, the different oils you put on, so you guys can figure out what it is. And you made them very, very successful. Very, very successful. But you walked away from that to come over here to Amare and be the president. Who does that? So why would you do that? Why would you do that, Rich?
Well, first of all, you're being very kind. I appreciate you saying that. I think at the end of the day, for me, I think all of us, it's part of human nature to want to leave a legacy and to do something great. And when you have an opportunity to spend time with a big picture thinker like Kip Tran, it kind of is transformative. So a lot of times we get stuck in our world of, what we're doing. And, it's kind of like you have incremental growth. And I got to kind of the pinnacle of my career. I was in a position and working with a company that I think any of my colleagues, any of people that are, in the industry that know me, that I've worked together, were probably would have loved the position that I had, and would have loved the opportunity I had, and even the opportunity financially that I had. But ultimately, I did not feel like I was meeting my full potential. So when Hip had the opportunity to share his vision and his mission, and when I first met with him, we didn't even know that we were going to create the mental wellness company together. It was just his story, and his mission and purpose was really so high level that it elevated my thinking. And I remember one of the things he said to me in that very first meeting. He said, I want you to picture a blank canvas. Let's go out there and create something together that really makes a difference. And that's what he said to me. And that got me thinking, what would I do? And it wasn't until about probably a good month after I had joined HIP and the team that one evening, just a little bit of a backstory, we were headed down the road of weight loss as a company, but approaching it from really a mental perspective. Because if you think about it, it's what you just said earlier, Real. You said, most people approach their physical health from the outside in. But what if we were to approach weight loss from a mental perspective, from the inside out? So we started contemplating that, and I've launched probably 5 weight loss programs in my career in health and wellness. And one evening I woke up at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I had an epiphany. And I swear to you, it was almost like I heard these words. The words were, you are not the weight loss company, you're the mental wellness company. And I sat up in bed, I grabbed my computer. My poor wife, I woke her up and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, we're not the weight loss company, we're the mental wellness company. And she's like, yeah, you've lost your mind. You need some mental wellness. And so I started Googling. Here I've been in health and wellness up to that point for 24, 25 years. And I didn't know any company that was approaching mental health from a natural and holistic perspective. Not anyone. There were companies that had a product here and there, maybe for mood or energy or sleep, but no one was looking at it holistically. And there certainly wasn't anyone that called themselves the mental wellness company. And before you knew it, we fell into this category that is so perfectly defining for us because of each of our own personal and individual stories. And now what became a business opportunity has become a passion project. But it also, and I don't want to underscore this or underplay it, it is a tremendous business opportunity. Why? Because no one's doing it. And it is like the world, like I said earlier, the World Health Organization calls it the #1 epidemic in the world today. So why is it the #1 issue, but yet no one's really focused on it holistically? Certainly the pharmaceutical companies focus on it, and they're pulling in billions of dollars in pharmaceutical sales. But why isn't anyone looking at it holistically? And that gave us the opportunity to be what I call category creators. And we have created a whole new category in the direct sales space and in the mental health space. And I believe that kind of innovation is what is going to carry us into the billions in sales. I know that we will be one of the next multi-billion-dollar companies in the direct sales space. And the real question I have for you and for people listening to this podcast, when is the last time you had an opportunity to invest in something that was this huge? And do you regret that you didn't get those opportunities? Well, if you're hearing this podcast, you have that opportunity today. Don't let it pass you by. Help to be one of the category creators in this space. and certainly get a lion's share of the market share, your share of the market share. Make sure that you don't pass that by. If you had the ability to invest in Amazon or eBay and you knew about it back in the day, or Uber or Airbnb, you would have done it, knowing how large those companies have become today. Well, you now have the opportunity to invest, and I don't even mean financially, I mean your time and your effort and your word of mouth. You have the opportunity to invest in the next multi-trillion-dollar industry. And you have that opportunity today because nobody else is doing it. No one's doing what we're doing. Are you going to pass it up? Are you going to pass that opportunity up? Not only can you make a difference in a lot of lives, but you can do well financially. And when I say well, I believe that we will generate multi-$100 million earners in this business because they see the vision and because they see the need, and they want to be what we call wellness partners. They want to partner with us in getting the word out about that there are alternatives to address your mental health. And that's the opportunity we have, Rial. And I just think that this kind of opportunity comes around once in a lifetime, and don't let it be you that passes it by.
I couldn't agree more. And I want to just do rapid fire, and then I'm going to wrap it up with that. I want you to think about what Rich was saying. So rapid fire, I always do this. Your favorite superhero?
Superman.
Okay. You get to be a superhero. You get to choose your superpower. What would it be, and what would you do with it?
Okay, it's funny that you say that because I've always had this vision that I could calm all of the elements, that I could control the elements, the rain, the wind, the fire, the storms, hurricanes. I've always had this vision that I had these superpower where I could do that.
Okay, awesome. So last one. For me, it was my mom and dad, and I have sayings. I grew up with them. My dad always taught me there's no such word. I don't even say it, C-A-N-T. I erase it from my vocabulary. So much that my kids will, if you say the C word, they'll go, Dad, he said the C word. And they'll go, no, not able yet. My mom taught me, don't dream tonight, son, dream big. So, and I've carried those words with me my whole life, and they've made me who I am. Who was your biggest mentor, and was there a specific saying that was life-changing for you?
My biggest mentor was my father. And my dad used to always say to me, don't let your past create your future. So in other words, if you live in your past, your chances are you're going to repeat your past over and over and over again. But don't let your past define your future.
I love that. And I'm just going to go with that because I always say the past is history, the future is a mystery, and the present is a gift. And that gift is time. And what are you going to do with it? We're going to take action. So with that, guys, I want to just echo what Rich said. We at Amare, we are inviting you to evaluate our brand. We are, inviting entrepreneurs because my passion. I know Rich's passion right now. We have our hands on something that we can literally change the world, but I cannot do it by myself. Rich cannot do it by himself. So we are looking for leaders, influential people, entrepreneurs, CEOs. That's why I wanted you to hear from Rich. People that are willing, they're not okay with just getting a paycheck. They want to make a difference. They want to leave a legacy. We're looking to lock arms with those people that are interested in, speaking bold about it. I want to make an extra 5,000, 10,000, 15, 20, 25, 30,000 a month. It's possible because it's scriptural. You help enough people to have what they need, you will have everything you want. So if you're watching this, listening to it, if you're excited about this on either level, the brand, checking out our products, seeing if they could help you or people in your family, or you want to join us and lock arms, I like to say I'm putting the army together, and I'm going to throw it out there right now. Anybody in Mexico, If you know somebody in Mexico, champion, please reach out to us. We're going in November and we want to build an army and make a huge difference there. So get back with the person that shared this video with you, this podcast, and say, hey, how can I be part of this revolution? How can I join this family? So with that, I want to thank you, Rich, for taking the time out of your life and your busy schedule. I know you're busy, to spend time with you. I want to thank each and every one of you for jumping on this. And as I always say, champions, if somebody was put on your heart right now, if a name was put, don't even filter it, just share this. Just share this, tag them on it. It's for a reason. I always say this. Do you seriously think with the millions and billions of whatever it is people in the world, and one name is put on your head or heart, oh, it's a coincidence? No, it's not. I love you guys. I'll believe in you till you believe in yourself. Make the rest of the day the best of the day. God bless. Boom.
Thank you, Real.